Awesome. Well, hi and welcome to the ThankView plus Small Teams webinar. I know this is a crazy time, so I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to run through some of the resources and strategies to help you really get the most out of ThankView. I don't believe we'll take the full hour, and it leaves just even more Q&A time if you want to kind of dive deeper into some of your organization's specific goals and how ThankView can help you achieve them. If you have any questions throughout, feel free to drop those in the chat. Oh, and there's one already. Awesome. Hi, Sarah. She asked if we are all automatically muted. That's correct. Just because there are so many, I just left everyone unmuted. If you'd rather actually speak your question, there will be a Q&A section at the end. So feel free to hold on to that. And if you'd rather speak, I can give you access to your mic later if that's helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat or the Q&A. Like I said, we'll get to a Q&A section specifically for those. But before we run through the agenda, I wanted to take a brief moment just to introduce myself. I've probably met quite a few of you, but just in case, I'm Delaney Stripmatter. I'm a customer marketing manager here at ThankView. And I've been with ThankView for about 2 years now and just had a blast learning about the donor relations, admissions, marketing, worlds of colleges, universities, and nonprofits. Through emails and calls with you guys, I've gotten just a small glimpse into this world, and it's really fascinating. So I'm a big fan of what you guys do. Put that out there right in the open, right off the bat. And I wanted to kind of put this out there as well. If you are coming from an admissions or marketing side, we'll mainly be focusing on donor relations and the stewardship side of ThankView in this webinar, but I think you will still find some helpful tips when we touch on strategies and goals and tools, even if your goals and strategies are going to look a little bit different. So stay tuned for those, and we can also address any admissions or marketing specific questions at the end as well. With that said, let's jump into the agenda for today. The first thing we're going to do is a section called Getting Started with ThankView. I know there is a good chance that many of you might be brand new users to the platform. They may have just logged in this week. So I wanted to take a moment, just review the resources that we have available for you. Similarly, you might have had ThankView for 3+ years, but maybe a new team member is coming on and wants to learn a little bit more about the platform. So that'll be a section on just how to really get started. And then next up, we will hop into some strategies when it comes to setting goals and how that translates into your campaigns and maybe your team assignments. Next up, we'll go through a few of the ThankView's internal tools, as well as some maybe additional tools you would like to consider as you're recording videos and building those campaigns. And then finally, we'll end our time with just a few video examples from small teams that use ThankView. We have a holiday video, we have an appeal for a virtual giving day, and an internal coronavirus related message. It was sent internally from the president of a small organization, and it was just so personable, just so well thought out that I wanted to share that all with you today. And of course, we'll end our time with Q&A. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in throughout, but I will specifically leave time at the end for those. And just to note, I will be following up within 24 hours with a link to this room, as well as the slides. So you'll have access to all of these video examples, as well as anything else linked in the slides as well. Without further ado, let's jump in. Getting started with ThankView. Now, there are two options when it comes to getting started. You can choose one or both, depending on your learning style. And for me, the best way to learn is really to just jump in and start pushing buttons. So that is the very first option I have listed here, is testing or training by testing. And this can look like hopping into your portal, clicking on that Start New Campaign button, and just adding your email address to a campaign. And this email will send to only you, so it's a really great place to be creative and try out all of the merge field options and maybe record a quirky video just to see how that looks from the recipient end as well when you send that email. And what I would encourage you to do after you've sent that test just to yourself is to send an internal message to your organization, introducing ThankView as a new tool for them to use, for you to use, as well as just encouraging them with a "you're doing a great job" video. Any human interaction right now is really great for those of us who are still working from home. So don't be afraid to get in front of that camera and record a quick video for your team. Oh, and I also wanted to note my husband is also on a call. So if you hear any like noise in the background, most likely him. So I'm sorry if that is distracting at all. I have all of the settings on Zoom here to tone that background noise out. I also live in Brooklyn, so there's background noise constantly. So feel free to, mute as needed. I will try to speak louder than the cars outside my window. The next step here on this tab before we go into resources is just our weekly trainings. Some of you may already be aware of these, but it's a little more formal. They're led by Katie Wiseman, who takes you through the platform piece by piece. And I would highly encourage you to try this training if you are a new user or if you are maybe 6 months rusty and wanting to get back into the platform. She goes through what a campaign setup looks like, how to add or manage users in ThankView, really anything and everything ThankView, all of the platform's features. And I don't know if you guys saw this or not, it was in our newsletter just yesterday, but we upgraded our video request feature, had a complete makeover last week. So if you haven't seen that yet, highly recommend sending yourself a test video request or signing up for one of those trainings to see that new test feature in action. Now let's touch on some resources for new users and ThankView pros alike. Now this sounds a little bit cheesy, but I think it is very true that our partners are your partners. And I know this because I've seen such a strong willingness for partners to share example videos like the ones we're going to look at in this webinar, as well as a willingness to share advice on that Facebook community group. So I've broken down kind of where to find the right sources, whether you're looking for video examples or you're looking for tips or tricks. And there's a little bit of overlay, so definitely use all of these resources for all of these things, but maybe these are a great place to start. If you're looking for a video example, the ThankView YouTube channel is a really great spot for that. We are constantly uploading our webinar recordings as well as just video examples from our partners. If you weren't partners with us this past December or January, we did a Oscar-style thank you awards. So some of the best thank yous that we saw in the year of 2019. Highly encourage you to check those out, as well as an amazing acceptance speech from Minnesota Mankato. It's amazing. So highly encourage you checking those out. If you haven't seen it, we have a COVID-19 idea share sheet for our partners to, again, share links to their videos, share ideas for how they've kind of changed their communication strategy as everyone's working from home, students went back from campus, how everything's kind of shifted. So it was just a great resource we were happy to link to there. And like I mentioned, you'll have access to all of these links in the slides when I follow up. And then the very last thing here is just the monthly newsletters. We'll send those out once a month, maybe even twice a month. And usually at the end there, we're gonna end with just a month highlight. Video we really found inspirational, something we really wanted to highlight. So make sure that you're kind of clicking all the way to the end of those to see. And then for tips and tricks, the ThankView blog is called Send and Receive. I'd love to get some feedback on the name. We potentially might be changing that, but it's a great resource. We have articles like best subject line tips, recording tips, and again, another resource for video examples as well. And have the Facebook community group. If you are not a member, highly recommend just going into Facebook, typing in ThankView community group, and we will accept you in there. And you can go ahead and drop in your questions, drop in your examples. And I also encourage you to respond to questions and respond with examples. It's what makes the dream work. And then the last thing here I wanted to touch on is the success stories page. We are constantly highlighting really unique ways that our partners are using ThankView, and you can find those on this page here. And that actually leads me into my next slide, which is a preview of an upcoming success story. And I wanted to do just a sneak peek of this one in particular, because it fits so perfectly with our topic of small teams. It comes from Isidore Newman School down in New Orleans, and Mary Hoffman is our main user there, and she has really spearheaded ThankView from sales to onboarding to now using it. She is amazing. And I wanted to play this video, but before I do, just give you a little bit of background. Mary Hoffman and her small but mighty team felt that they were doing a lot of appeals, maybe a few letters of thanks here or there, but that their communication was really lacking in updates and gratitude. And since they had just adopted ThankView, Mary had this amazing idea of doing a ThankView video for the new cafeteria table and chairs that they'd received for the students. More than just an email or a letter, a video was really going to show how the gift impacted students. So what she did is she picked up her iPhone and she walked over to the cafeteria and she filmed this video. So let's take a look.
Thank you so much for the new tables and chairs. Because of you, they're awesome, and we're all so much more comfortable at lunch.
Amazing. So I do want to switch over to her quote here. I know it is super long. Oops, I'm actually playing the video again here. Exit out of these. Present here. I do want to highlight this quote here, and it is super long, but in typical fashion, I couldn't decide which parts to cut or keep. So I want to read the whole thing here. I really think it drives not only at the practicality of recording personalized videos, but really also at the heart and the reason that why we film those videos. And this was something Mary Hoffman said during our interview. She said that dining hall video took 15 minutes to shoot. The longest part was the walk to the cafeteria. And she said we got more feedback from a girl in a video of a girl in the dining hall saying thank you because it was unpolished and it was sincere. And that's the biggest thing about stewardship. How do we capture sincerity? And I think ThankView allowed us to do that. So really great quote. And before we wanted to jump into strategies and tools, this is the starting point I really wanted to go from. Whatever your goals or your strategies are, it's important to ask, are they tying back to authenticity or relationship building? If not, how can we shift that focus? And it's also important to note that you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours filming videos to make them personal and to make them sincere. Personal touches can be time efficient as well as effective. So I wanted to just start from here before we jump into some strategy. So with that whopper of an intro, let's dig into some ThankView strategies. So on the screen here, I have two example goals that you would potentially bring to a ThankView centered meeting. And yes, I would recommend having a ThankView specific strategy meeting in addition to your other communication plans as a whole. Your communications should work together, of course. ThankView is a really unique tool. It's something that recipients are not used to seeing in their inbox. I think it's one of the reasons our overall average open rate is around 60%. It's just because people are intrigued by that envelope or that thumbnail or that GIF sitting in their inbox. It's not going to look like any other communication piece that you're sending. So when you're coming to that ThankView meeting with goals, if you'd like to set them up by month or quarter or year, these are just kind of two I wanted to dig into as examples. But before we hop into these, I want to encourage you not to be afraid to change these goals, especially if you are working on your first few ThankView campaigns. You're going to find out what works or what doesn't work, mostly from your own expertise, maybe from webinars like this one, but mostly you're going to find out what works and what doesn't work by trying different things. So these two goals I have here, my two big goals for my summer 2020 communications. Because of social distancing and all the negative impacts that that entails, I really want to emphasize building relationships. So what does that look like? I have the goal here listed as we want to start conversations with our donors. And let's see. When I have this goal here, what is the strategy to kind of achieving that goal? And I have two examples listed here. Having a CTA, which stands for call to action, for every campaign, making sure that there is a link for someone to go on to the next step. And then a second strategy here is each video, whether it's the script or whoever's recording that video, is going to nudge viewers to click that reply button, either replying with a message or with their own video as well. So making sure that each of my campaigns for this summer are going to have that call to action button, and the video is going to encourage replies, letting people know I want to hear from them and I really want to start that conversation. The next goal I have here is a little more numbers based. I want to see a 50% open rate or above for all of the campaigns. So what does that look like? Building off of that into strategies. The first one I have here is working with your data person, cleaning list. Oh, and I also, oops, I didn't put this on here. I really want to emphasize, if 50% open rate is my goal, I really want to emphasize thoughtful subject lines. And so that kind of leads into this final point here, segmenting. You're able to make more thoughtful subject messages if you are segmenting by year's giving, by gift amount, by location, really any way to segment those messages to make it more meaningful and to get those open rates, to get those click-through rates higher. Now let's say you are bringing all of these amazing goals, really tight, practical strategies to the table, but no one else is really showing up to the table when it comes to ThankView. How can you encourage more buy-in from your team? And here are 3 great steps toward getting your team to brainstorm and build campaigns alongside you. The first is to send ThankViews internally. And we do that here, unsurprisingly, and it still gets to me when a coworker of mine, says my name, gives an update or kudos. The power of personalized video really speaks for itself, especially now that maybe you aren't seeing coworkers every day in the office. So I'd encourage building out a, thanks for your amazing work campaign just for your team. And we're going to take a look at actually one of those videos in action later in the example videos portion. The second thing I'd encourage is project ownership. If you have a great idea for a fun campaign, maybe assign it, or at least parts of it, maybe just the recording of video, to one of your team members, really allowing them to make the project their own. I firmly believe that the more ideas that come together, the better that video is going to be. And then the third step here, I want to acknowledge, is a real fear of getting started with ThankView, and that's just being camera shy. Whether it's you who's camera shy or a person on your team, I would highly recommend sending examples, maybe even some from this webinar or others from similar organizations that you find on our blog or YouTube channel. Just giving them examples that, especially now, videos are being shot by regular people just in their houses, drinking a cup of coffee. You do not need a ring light or a fancy camera to let your donors know that you care about them, that you're thinking of them during these crazy times. And then I did want to touch on being a team of one. I keep emphasizing project ownership and brainstorming ideas with your team when maybe you are the sole ThankView admin at your organization. Do not worry. These strategies are still applicable, and I would still encourage you to set up your goals. What is it that you want to accomplish with ThankView within this month, within this season, and by the end of 2020? And also setting up a feasible, how many videos can I record goal as well. Which leads into my second bullet point here, brainstorming with other departments. I would still highly recommend setting up a ThankView brainstorming session. They may have access to film things that you may not be able to. They may have amazing ideas that wouldn't have come to you, so don't go it alone when it comes to that video creation portion. You can still take ownership of that campaign setup, but ask colleagues, volunteers, other people in your organization to help you film the content. And then the biggest thing here, which I think was Mary Hoffman's biggest piece of advice when we sat down with her to talk through just their strategy and how they got started, she said the best thing to do is just shoot a video and get started. And right now, a thank you video, a COVID-19 update video, those both would be really great places to start if you're unsure what should the first video I make be. I'd highly recommend one of those options there. Now let's hop into some ThankView tools here. First, I wanted to touch on some tools you already have access to within your ThankView account. The first is closed captioning. This might be a must or a nice to have, depending on your organization's guidelines, but I wanted to let you know that it's an option right within ThankView, so you don't have to worry about adding those on your own. It's $1.25 per minute of video. It gets captioned, making your video even more accessible to the people that you're sending it to. And the next two things here are really similar. They're just video editing options. If you're able to combine videos you are able to combine videos directly into that video library. If you have an update maybe from various leaders in your organization and you want to cut those all together, there is a combined video option. Just a really great tool for you to have one combined video right within ThankView there. And then the other option is the video sequencing feature. It's something we built because we were really inspired by one of our partners at the Abilene School. They did an amazing admissions video where the first portion of the video was just, "Hi John, hey Jane," and they said each new student's name. But that cut to a more generic, what to expect from your first day at Abilene and things to note before coming. And we thought, that's a great personal touch in a video, which is what we do. So we should build something like that. And that video sequencing was what came out of that. And the option is to make that first video in your campaign really personalized, going through name by name, and then attaching a more generic video. Maybe it's showing what their donation is going towards, so you have that personal thank you as well as an update that goes out to everyone in that campaign. So linked here are just the two FAQ articles to give you more info on how those work if you're interested in using those tools. Now, the second thing I wanted to do here is just additional tools you may want to consider as you're making more and more videos, as you're getting more and more comfortable in ThankView. I did want to highlight if you are filming on a smartphone, that's great. Especially newer smartphones have amazing visual quality, whether you're using Android or Apple, great visual quality. However, the audio on these phones is not as great. So if you are pretty frequently filming on a phone, highly encourage just purchasing a clip-on microphone. You can plug it into your phone. It'll make that audio quality even better. And I have here just a link to the one we use. It's a $20 mic off Amazon and it works great. So that's a recommendation there. The second thing I wanted to mention is if you are looking to add maybe music, text, or photos in your video, you will need some sort of editing software outside of ThankView. And for some of our partners, they use iMovie or other free editing softwares, and some use Animoto. And plug here, we also offer a discounted Animoto subscription available right now. So if you would like to learn a little bit more about that or would like to add it to your subscription, feel free to reach out at support. And speaking of support, please let us know if there are tools that would make your job easier. We know with small teams, you are doing a lot with less resources. So if there are things that would be great to have in ThankView, things that would make your job or your team's jobs easier, that's how we make the platform bigger and better. So reach out, email us at support@thankview.com, and we are more than happy to hear those new feature requests. Now with that said, let's hop into some video examples. The first one I want to highlight here is the internal message that I alluded to earlier. Tim at the Lady of Our Sacred Heart High School was generous enough to allow us to share this amazing message that he sent to his team. I believe this was sent out week 1 of the shutdown, and he was just applauding the amazing teachers at Sacred Heart who shifted pretty quickly into online learning. So let's take a look at this.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Yeah, this is the real me. This is what I look like when I get up in the morning and roll out of bed. So let's see, got my breakfast here, got Got some freshly made blueberry pancakes, got some coffee, and really just ready to go because, you know, that's the beauty of online asynchronous teaching. I can sit here in my pajamas and not worry about it and post everything I need to post and wait for the students to show up and do their assignments. So we're ready to go. Really, though, the reason I'm here, I'm so proud of you. I am so grateful for you as our faculty, and I appreciate your preparation and cooperation. You know, Monday was just an amazing day, and teachers teaching teachers, colleagues helping colleagues out. Yesterday, got to tell you, yesterday Sis Francine popped into a meeting we were having and told me she had 3 videos posted for online already for Khan Academy, and Maureen stopped by and she has stuff ready to go online. Who'd have thunk it? I mean, this is just fantastic, and again, just reminds me of how blessed we are to have you as teachers for all of our students. So it's about 9 o'clock. It's about time. Get ready to go and lead our students into this new era of online education. And, you know, for all of us, it's really just like the first day of school all over again. So hope you know that I'm behind you. Well, after my breakfast, of course, I'll be behind you. I want to have that. And have a great day. And thank you for all you do for our kids. And it's Bailey's. Have a good day.
Just such a great ending there. I just wanted to highlight, this was, you know, again, sent on week 1 where everything was kind of shifting and moving into online learning. And I think this meant so much more to their team than just an email. Having him just record a quick video, clearly just rolled out of bed and record this video for them. And it was so great and really well received. And the second one I wanted to highlight here is a holiday video. It's a little bit longer, so I don't believe we're going to watch the whole video, but it will be linked here if you would like to go view it later. This was just a video from Colorado Springs Pioneer Museum. They have one spearheader of ThankView. She is amazing and kind of ring-led the entire office and just giving a holiday message to their donors, supporters, volunteers. And it was just a really great way. And also, plug here, it was made with Animoto. So if you're interested, that's what this looks like here.
Hi, it's Matt Mayberry, Director of the Colorado Springs Pioneers Museum. I want to thank you for all you do to support the museum and its mission over the past year, and wish you happy holidays and best wishes for the new year. Thank you.
Merry Christmas from the exhibit team to you. Thanks for everything you do.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Thank you for everything you do throughout the year. This museum would not be here without any of your
Hi, this is Jim from the Pioneers Museum. I want to wish all our wonderful volunteers a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year on behalf of myself and Casey, who's on vacation. We would like to just make sure you have a wonderful holiday season. Thank you.
And just keeps going through all of their different faculty, staff, and it just goes through different parts of the museum as well, which I think is really great, highlighting the office section, also the parts that visitors get to see as well. I know you're most likely thinking just what is the next month, what is the next 2 months going to look like, but when you do eventually have a spare second to think about, you know, what is the end of 2020 going to look like as well. Just a great video example of you know, an easy way to put together those holiday messages that kind of ring a little bit truer than just, you know, copy on an email there. And then the last video example I wanted to go through here is from Abilene Zoo. They're kind of a newer partner, but man, they hit the ground running, especially with this campaign. This is an appeal to their board members to share messages on social media for their upcoming virtual giving day. Stephanie does an amazing job here. She's just so personable and really emphasizes her team's willingness to help them craft the social messages, really get the word out. And it's just overall a really great video. So let's take a look here.
Hello, Abilene Zoological Society board members. Stephanie De La Garza with Development. I wanted to send you a quick video message to let you know that Abilene Gives Day is coming up. It's actually really fast approaching. Our webpage is already live for Abilene Gives Day, and I've included that link below so you can check it out. But on April 27th, the people can actually start donating money on the platform, and then May 5th is actually the day of giving. And so I wanted to reach out to all of you to see if you would be willing to help us this year. What we're looking for is people that would be interested in doing peer-to-peer fundraising, which kind of sounds scary, but it's really not. All it is you set up a page and fundraise for the zoo, put in a story of why you support the zoo, and then share it with your friends and your family. You can share it in many ways on your social media page, via emails, via text, and I can actually help you come up with some wording that would be beneficial. The next way that we're asking for you to consider supporting us during this time is by making a video. We strongly believe that your videos will trend really high on social media and will help spur giving. And so what we want you to record a video talking about is how long you've been a board member, why you donate your time, your skills, money to the zoo, and why other people should care too. Tell a story about what inspired you to get involved. A lot of us have many, many memories from the zoo, and many of us have grown up in Abilene and watched the zoo flourish and change throughout the years. And I think those would be great stories that the community would love to hear, and I think it would create a huge impact coming from you. And so if you would be interested in doing peer-to-peer fundraising, please reach out to me. I'd love to show you how to set up and be an ambassador for the zoo during Abilene Gives Day. And if you could send us a video, it would be greatly appreciated. It doesn't have to be perfect and polished. We will help you to cut it down if needed and edit it. It really just needs to be real. Real videos trend so much higher. If you have questions, reach out to me. I've included some information below. And when you click on the submit a video link, there's additional details on what exactly submitting a video means and how to make it work. And so if you have any questions, reach out. We really appreciate you, and we can't wait for brighter days when we can see you at the zoo again. Take care.
And just such a great note to end on as well, because Stephanie pretty much summed up in a much shorter than 30-minute webinar why it is that videos are so powerful, just that they are, as long as they are showing as real and sincere, that's when you're really kind of bottling magic there. So with that, I'm gonna go into the Q&A section. If you have any questions, let me know. You are also not limited to this time with Q&A. If any questions come up after, I'll, like I said, be sending a follow-up email. So feel free to respond to that if you have any specific questions about the webinar or any comments or concerns. I'm all ears. So thank you all for coming. That was really all I had. If you have any questions, feel free to stick around. If not, have a great rest of your day. I'm gonna go ahead and pull up our questions here. Jesse, I'm not sure which link, this was way back when. Jesse asked, can you put that link in the chat? You'll also have access to these slides. So any of the links in there, you'll have in the follow-up email. Chelsea, hi, you're welcome. Chelsea is incredible. Please check out that video. In fact, I'm gonna put it in the follow-up. It's so great. Barbara asked, are we able to add in our own captioning files, for example, an SRT file? Absolutely. Barbara, if you just send us that file to support@thankview.com and let us know the name of which video you'd like us to add it to, we can get that added, no problem. Yeah, no problem. Sarah asked, can we include a transcript of the video or link to one if we're not able to pay for closed captioning due to budget cuts or anything like of that nature? Oh yeah, COVID budget cuts, yes. I believe we might be able to do that. we'd need to know a little bit more about what type of file and where you're looking to put that. But we can definitely work with you to talk a little bit more about that. The best place to go is support@thankview.com just to get that conversation going. Yeah, absolutely. We want to make sure that the video is accessible, that people are able to read your amazing words, even if budgeting is a little bit tight right now. I know that is true of a lot of our partners at the moment. No problem. Thank you. And I'm gonna, like I said, stick around for a while. I'm gonna check the Q&A box here, see if any other questions come up.